A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky. To fulfill, oh, may it all my powers engage to do my master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and all thy servant count to give.
What is up, Rio Hondo Prep football fans? The long wait is almost over. It's almost time to kick things off in 2026 officially with the first game in week 0 against the Sure Spartans. But first, this Friday night, August 14th at Baldwin Park High School, your Rio Hondo Prep Cares will step on the field against an opponent. No, not in a real game, but in a scrimmage that will take place, as I mentioned, the week before the season officially starts on Friday, August 21st, with Rio Hondo Prep traveling to Sure High School in Montebello. But this Friday, upcoming, the 14th, the Baldwin Park Braves will be hosting Rio Hondo Prep in a scrimmage where, again, it won't be necessarily there'll be some full speed drills and things. I don't know how much tackling there'll be. There'll probably be a lot of quick whistles. I doubt we'll see any special teams or anything like that, but it'll be a nice test to go up against a valiant opponent, a solid opponent like the Baldwin Park Braves, who advanced all the way to the Division 11 championship game last season in 2025, fell short by 2 points, which is always a tough pill to swallow, losing by one possession. But the Braves had a great season last year. They were 5-5 at the end of the regular season. It was kind of a roller coaster of wins and losses, if you will. But the important number is they got to the playoffs and they won 3 straight to reach the CIF final. They finished the season 8-6, and you can honestly say they, with them being one of the only SGV teams alongside Rio Hondo Prep to get to a championship game. I mean, I think that speaks volumes about their program. So we're going to have on the show today, very special guest, the head coach of the Baldwin Park Braves, Robert Maxey, who's been at Baldwin Park now for 4 seasons, started there in 2023, and they've done nothing but continue to rise. He's done a heck of a job. He comes from Pasadena, where he's offensive coordinator for many years. This is his 18th season coaching high school football altogether. You hear him on the Twitter Spaces on Wednesday nights, I think, with Mark the Shark, Fred Robledo, all those guys making their predictions for the upcoming games. So he's kind of that crossover. Him and Matt V, I think, are a couple of the coaches that kind of mix it in with the media to talk high school football in the San Gabriel Valley specifically. So you hear his voice often there. He's ended up picking Rio Hondo quite a bit over the years when they have to do their pick 'em, because it's very competitive, where they keep their own standings, right, as far as the picks go amongst the media guys and the coaches. So a lot of fun with Coach Maxey. Looking forward to this conversation with him. Of course, the fans love when we interview the coaches of teams we are either about to play or recently played, and just kind of getting that perception from the other teams and other schools. And it kind of, I don't know, it makes the matchup be a little more fun, right, as we go into it. So we've been counting down for August 21st for a long time, for week 0 to get that first official game underway. This Friday is going to really help us out getting that going for both schools. Baldwin Park opens up against Lucerna. Rio Hondo, we saw how tough they were last year. I know Rio Hondo ended up coming out on top in the semifinal last year, but Lucerna is a top-notch program in Baldwin Park. That's a great opening game for both schools, I got to say. Baldwin Park's kind of on the rise. Lacerna looking to bounce back from that loss last year to Rio in the playoffs after two straight championship game appearances themselves. So that's going to be a great test for both teams. Baldwin Park has himself quite a great quarterback, and Laquan Jackson, a transfer from Upland. So they can put it in the air. They threw the ball around the field quite a bit last year, too. So I'm sure we'll see that in the scrimmage. No one's giving anything away or anything. It's like, I can raise my hand and say, hey, Real Hondo's going to run the ball quite a bit. That's kind of what we do. We'll mix in some things. We're going to try some things, I think. And I think more than anything, the scrimmage is about getting some work in, dusting off maybe some of the cobwebs, going, maybe not full speed, but as close to it as possible. And in recent years, Rio Hondo typically doesn't do a scrimmage just because it's a matter of depth. You don't want to bang someone up in a game in a contest where it's not an official game. You play enough tough games as it is, and so Coach Carson has always just kind of said, we don't need to do that just because. But I think this year, as talking to Coach earlier in the season, he made mention that we graduated a lot of guys, and those guys were seasoned. And it's not to take anything away from our current senior class or guys who played varsity for a few years, but he just felt, what, maybe this is the year to get out there and try a scrimmage again. And I know him and Coach Maxey have a great relationship, and they're going to do it the right way. That this game, this contest, this scrimmage won't get out of control. It's mutual respect between the lines, and I think that there's a little competitiveness to it. It's kind of ignite those juices. And I will say, if you looked at our game last year against Rio Hondo coming off back-to-back championships, that week 0 game, there was a lot of buildup to it. And it almost felt like we could have used the scrimmage maybe before that game, because came out, they played us tough. We were banged up. They got banged up, and we prevailed. We prevailed in a hard-fought, tough game. I think it was 17-7, I believe, or 20-7. It was a very close football game. And yeah, we had them. They had us against the ropes a few times, but Rio Hondo prevailed in that game, and that's why I'm looking forward to this next week, August 21st, for all the high school football teams to get things going. But Rio Hondo traveling to Montebello to take on the Spartans, going into Sparta, if you will. That's going to be very, very difficult, and a great opportunity and a great challenge for your 2026 Rio Hondo Prep Cares. You're back-to-back defending CIF Southern Section champions in Division 9, 7, and 5, respectfully. As things progress throughout the summer, I have my ideas in the spring of what I want to do. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. We've done the parent interviews, which has always been a kick, great for the families to hear from other families of our senior parents. The 4th of July episode, I always look forward to. But I was wondering how I was going to treat this as we got to August. And I just said, let's go to the 2 episodes a week, which, we're already doing. And I said, let's do a pregame show like we would treat the scrimmage almost like a dress rehearsal for what we're going to be doing in the next few weeks, right? With a pregame show generally on Wednesday nights. For the fans out there, you'll get an announcement usually sometime in the week who's coming on. And I'll try to record those like Tuesday nights. And then that way you got your Wednesday night pregame show to listen to, or you got all day Thursday to do it. Or if you can't get to it till Friday, it's something to listen to on the way to the game. So treating this episode much like a regular season week just kind of helps me and get in the right frame of mind. So pregame show this week. We're going to do a recap show, as we often do. We're going to come on here with Coach Carson, I think Saturday, and recap the scrimmage at Baldwin Park. Again, no one's keeping score or anything. I will kind of keep some notes and things and be very on like a boxing judge, just trying to, hey, who did better on this offensive set versus the defense and vice versa. And so I'm going to try to a strict account to give, right? As we have said there on the alma mater many, many times. So I'll give you guys a report, talk to Coach about kind of how the scrimmage went on Friday. So that's kind of the plan, man. We were officially in the rhythm and the routine of the season. Today, a pregame show with a guest talking about the upcoming game, or a little bit, the contest, scrimmage, whatever you want to call it. And then Saturday, we'll recap it with Coach. And I'm not sure if I'll have a player on or not. I will during the regular season. But away we go, guys. We just started this thing in June. I mean, honestly, May for me, as I started recording episodes. And here we are. When the season ended in December, you're thinking, man, just get me to mid-August again, about a week or so before the first game. And and here we are. It's just about time. So first things first, the scrimmage with Baldwin Park this Friday at 6 o'clock, I believe it is. I may have to double check that, and I'll post that on social media. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, after the scrimmage, I'll kind of post some notes as to what I saw, and then Saturday we'll do a recap show with Coach, and then the following week 0 pregame show on Wednesday night. What would that be? August, let's see, August 19th probably. So I'll be recording on the weekends and earlier in the week to kind of piece all this stuff together. But here we are, guys. We did it. We got through June and July, the dog days of summer, and here we are in August. The boys are on the field practicing as I record this. Practices are going. This is about a week or so before I'm actually releasing it. So, yeah, everyone's jacked up, juiced up. They're sweating. They're working hard out there and getting ready for some upcoming challenges. Rio Hondo against Sure, Baldwin Park against La Serna, and there'll be a little bit of a clash on Friday at Baldwin Park, just to kind of get those get those first few hits in and kind of going against other teams rather than hitting your own teammates and things like that. So let's get to the interview with Coach Maxey. Afterwards, I will have a very brief, probably 5 minute not discussion because it's just me, but 5 minutes information. What did I call it last year? Explanation point to wrap up the show. Again, talking about rules and officiating, kind of that's my background, where I come from. So just again to educate our fans, I'm just going to talk about a couple of the new rules this year that will be implemented, as well as a few points of emphasis. And I promise not to dwell on too long about each one of those, but I want to keep doing that this year on the pregame shows, wrap up the show with an explanation point. And during the season, I'll probably bring up plays or situations that happened in our games and kind of explain them. As to why something was called or why something was managed a certain way. That's just kind of keeps me looking at the game from that perspective. So don't miss the explanation point after my interview here with Coach Maxey. I promise to keep it brief and get you guys out of here and on your way to the opening week of scrimmages, or the week of scrimmages here, the week before, or something like that. All right, enough for me, guys. Here is my interview with head coach Robert Maxey from Baldwin Park High School, who again is in his 4th year and leading the Braves to very big things. They are a great tradition at Baldwin Park, which we will talk about. And Coach Maxey has this team headed in the right direction, and just looking forward to competing with him this Friday out at Baldwin Park. All right, here is our featured guest of the pregame show, head coach Robert Maxey. All right. As a special treat for this week's podcast, we are joined by the head football coach of Baldwin Park, Coach Robert Maxey. We are going to be scrimmaging the Baldwin Park Braves Friday night to get things going for the 2026 season. Coach Maxey, what's up, man? Thanks for joining me here today on the Charge to Keep podcast.
Hey, how's it going, you guys? Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Coach, we hear a lot from you throughout the regular season on the Twitter Spaces with Fred Robledo and Tim Peterson and all those guys. Man, how did you get involved with that? It's nice to have a couple different coaches on there talking with the media types, because those two worlds do clash at times, and I think the coach has got to set the record straight sometimes. How did you get involved with that a couple years ago?
Well, I kind of started it a little before with Aaron and his Friday night spaces, and when he had his thing going, I kind of chime in a little bit, and kind of got it going from there. And then when Fred, Mark, and they started doing the Wednesday night thing to preview games and kind of do actually kind of formatted kind of show. It was cool, man, just to have a coach's point of view on there as well. A lot of times those guys don't get to understand the ins and outs and see the things that as coaches see, and so just to have that opinion and to be asked to do it, it's an honor.
Yeah, it's really fun, especially when you guys got to kind of make your picks for the games throughout the week, and especially in the playoffs. It's a lot of fun. I noticed you and Matt V. A lot of you guys, you pick Rio Hondo Prep quite a bit the past couple years in those predictions, and I don't know. It seems like maybe it can't be an easy pick, but it seems like a lot of guys are kind of bought into the Rio Hondo program.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I mean, just the tradition of it, and just years of winning championships and having great seasons. it kind of they kind of make it easy for us. We started keeping track of those wins and losses. So you can always pick Rio Hondo for a safe pick.
Get you in the win column. That's awesome, man. That's great to
Yeah,
hear.
because they don't
Uh,
let you down.
No, no, absolutely. Appreciate the support. Yeah, I gotta stay in that winning column. Coach, we're scrimmaging each other on Friday, August 14th, I believe 6 o'clock at Baldwin Park High School. Rio typically doesn't scrimmage. I think it's a matter of maybe depth or kind of, we have our 10-game season anyway, and it's just kind of like, all right, we're better off playing each other. But Coach Carson this year decided to go forward and participate in a scrimmage. How did this come about? And I don't know, what's your approach to scrimmages? How'd you end up with Rio Hondo on the horizon?
Me and Carson, man, we're real tight, man. I looked up to him a lot, um, and so we're just having conversations, and we kind of got brought up, and he hit me, and he was like, you know what, yeah, we typically don't do it, but I think that was something that we'll be interested in doing this year. And I was like, perfect, because for us, we play Lucerna the next week, so I wanted to get a good test, before we go into that game. That's a great program, traditionally as well. Coach George does a great job with that program. They're physical discipline team, and I just wanted to try to get a team that can bring similar traits that we'll see versus Cerna, and no better team than Rio. And Coach Carson agreed to it. It was great. I mean, it's not going to be your typical scrimmage. Um, we're both very thin depth wise and don't want to do much. But just to let our guys see some other colors and bang around a little bit, and get out of there safe for next week.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You get maybe the cobwebs off. You're not
Yeah.
you're tackling guys that aren't your buddies anymore. So not that there's a again, there's no trophies being handed out at the scrimmage or anything, but it's gonna be competitive, and guys are gonna get their work in, right, and get prepared for week zero.
Yeah. And that's all it's about. You just it's just for I forget who Rio plays week zero, but I think it's a pretty good opponent. But and just for us too. So it's like, yeah, I mean, of course, we don't want to show everything. We want to save some stuff for week zero, schematic wise, and certain things of that nature. So we just kind of want to keep it real vanilla, and it's best to do these kind of things with guys you have great relationships with, because then that way things don't get out of hand. And because sometimes you will get teams that sometimes want to think that it's their Super Bowl, and go a little extra harder and be a little extra and stuff of that nature. So you just want to do things you have a great relationship with, and keep it well controlled, um, and get a few plays in and get out.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The concept of scrimmage, because yeah, I think that's also another reason we haven't scrimmaged much before. It's just like you're not benefiting here. You could get out of control and all that. So yeah, I think Kurt, and on the flip side, Coach, I think that's why Real Honda with Baldwin Park and yourself, Coach Carson talked. He knows, you run a tight ship over there with your guys, and we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun on Friday night. I think that for sure. Let me see here. Let me see. What was I going to mention here? Oh, yes. Let's talk about by the way, our week zero game is against the Sure Spartans on the road. Uh Tough test. They played us tough last year in our opener, and I think we could have used a scrimmage before playing them. So likewise, we knocked Lucerna out of the playoffs last year in the semifinals too, that you mentioned them. But a great program that you guys are opening up with, the Lucerna Lancers. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit more about your team, Coach Maxey. A lot changes in a year. We lost our biggest ever graduating class last year. The three-time champion guys that they were. So it's a fresh start for us. You guys went 8-6, 5-5 in the regular season, but then you rattled off 3 wins, getting to the Division 11 championship, ultimately losing by 2 points, unfortunately. Talk to me about last season, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs. Just take me through it for you, if you would.
Ah, man, I mean, it was definitely the season of highs and lows. We started off 4-0, then we lose 5 in a row, and then we find another way to win four in a row, and we end up in the championship game. So we talk about roller coaster up and downs. Our season was the definition of it. Just getting to a good start and playing in the competitive league. We're in the Valley Vista last year, and first game out of league, we opened up with Northview, which is is a great ran program for years. And just playing tough teams and battling, but just not getting coming out on top, and that was tough for us. And came down to our last game of the season. We're down to Diamond Ranch at halftime, and we knew that this is the game that we had to win to finish off 5-5 and get a shot at large. And at halftime it wasn't looking too good. I believe we were down like 21-7 or something like that, and I think we came back and won something like 42-35 in the great game. So and then that kind of sparked the run from that moment. So, but just very proud of my boys and how they responded last year. And it seemed to just kind of be a thing just since I've been there. When our backs against the wall, we give it our all and we come out on top. And it's just kind of just having a team for the tough kids. And them understanding that my job is to make sure we're our best, in November and October, and early on it's gonna be some ups and downs and things of nature, but just sticking the course and fighting it out together.
Well, where do you stand on that? I'm kind of looking at your schedule here from last year, and then of course you switch in leagues from the Val Vista to the Hacienda League. That has its own challenges as well. When it really is all about league play, those 5 games that you get, coming in, third or whatever you got to do. Do you see it as maybe you end up scheduling a harder non-league, or maybe half of your, 3 out of your non-league, maybe tougher opponents to kind of see how to push you guys a little bit, or how do you kind of approach that scheduling of the non-league?
Well, me, most guys know, man, I want to play. I want to play in big games. I want my kids to play in big games in those environments. I think they deserve it. And I think that's a big reason why kids come to Baldwin Park as well. Just where the program's going. So I mean, this year, man, I tried to schedule. I tried to make a schedule this year, man. Unfortunately, other teams, didn't want to agree to play. Which is fine, and it's kind of fine what I want. So I tried to toughen up my schedule this year, and I was only able to get Lacerna and rolling. And shout out to those coaches for taking the games. But I want us to be tough. I want us to be prepared, for the long haul, and to do that and to get better. Not only do you want to play against good, talented teams, you want to play against great coach teams, because that's what kind of sets the standards for the team and understanding coaching and what they're doing. So, and that's what I'll try to do, man. I try to, I'll just believe if you play tough preseason, you'll be just fine in league.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. And you're preaching to the choir here, coach. We have a tough time, finding opponents, that our league guys, they cancel the season at times, and playing out of league, non-league guys is tough for us because not everyone wants to play us. Some people, I don't know what it is. I know that other coaches have said, "Oh, we'll play them," and then it just doesn't work out too. So we got Roland on the schedule as well, a common opponent this year. That'll be a lot of fun. What could you speak of to Rio Hondo, coach, and just maybe like, is there a benefit for local schools to play us? Sometimes they say they want to play us, and it just scheduling doesn't work out. And I don't know what could you speak of kind of Rio Hondo and that football schedule of ours?
Well, I know it's kind of tough, man. Like I say, just being limited with participation of players, and you got to get through a whole season in the playoffs, and it'd be kind of tough to bang out week after week after week versus some top teams around the area, because you might not have all your players available when it matters the most. So I think for Rio, I think the great benefit is this, you know what you're going to get when you play them. You're going to get a physical, well coached football team, with championship pedigree, and that's all you can ask for, to put your boys in front of, to see what you have as well. It's a great measuring stick to see how far you are, and see how close you are to becoming, a predominant program like they are. So there's a benefit from the Rio side. I know a lot of people go, I want to see these games, see them play this and see them play that and see them play this. Well, it's kind of tough for them playing rosters of 80 kids back to back every week.
Yeah.
because they only have about 30 to 40, and those guys start wearing and tearing down, and it might not be a smart thing to get through the season.
Yeah, I think it's a fine balance, like you said, right? Maybe one or two great, big non-league games, and then,
Yeah.
kind of other schools that are kind of, right around your level. And that's the funny thing, coach, is all these years we haven't really known what level we should be playing at because we just haven't played some of these schools. But with the new CIF format, we've been forced just to kind of with some of these matchups to go out and play, Santa Monica and Lucerna and Redondo Union. So it's been crazy for us. We've done some things we've just I don't know. We never thought we could do, but at the same time, we did think we could do. What do you make of this great run the past 3 years the Real Hondo Prep has been on, watching it from the outside?
I mean, as far as just being a guy that loves SGB football, I mean, I just think it's spectacular. It's remarkable. I don't see how anybody from the outside in can have anything negative to say about what they do or what they've done because with this playoff system, I think they do a good job of putting you where you belong. And and Rio has done a good job of year in, year out running the table when it comes down to it. No matter how small of the school or the amount of the roster, they're getting into those divisions and they're making runs when people didn't think they had a chance. So it's a hell of a job that Coach Carson has been doing over there, man. And I think that it's a movie type of program. I think there'll be some movies coming pretty soon with the historical run and with the resources that they have to work with. It's just great to watch, and just like a fan, I'm like a fan of it. When we lost in the championship and our season was done, I made the trip to San Diego to catch the state regional game and to cheer them on and just again also to kind of just to get to see it up close for myself instead of kind of watching from afar, just kind of seeing the highlights, just seeing how the game is played for 4 quarters.
Really appreciate that. Yeah, I think as you get deeper into the playoffs, you start cheering on those SGV teams, whoever
Yeah.
whoever they are. We were pulling for you guys last year. I know an unfortunate loss in the championship game. I happen to be good friends with a Baldwin Park legend. Mr. Mark Ruiz, who was the quarterback of the 1991 CIF championship team, player of the year in Division 4. He and I refereed high school basketball a few years together, a few playoff games here and there. I talked to him today, told him, hey, I'm talking to Coach Maxey in an interview. And he said the exact words, tell Coach to keep up the great work. So, Coach Maxey, the Baldwin Park alumni, the legends, they love the work that you're doing and they want to see you keep going, man.
No, I appreciate it, man. It's been great getting to know those guys over the past couple of years and learning about all of the bone part tradition and the powerhouses that they used to be. And to be honest, man, that's what I was hired for. I wasn't hired just to, keep a program afloat. My principal, who's passed now, but when he hired me, he wanted us to be one of the top programs in SUV again, and he said that I was the guy to do it. And here I am. It's my first time being the head coach. How things were going to go. I inherited a program that only had, I think I had 16, 17 kids on the roster when I took over the program. They had a huge senior class. So it's been challenging, man. But just, put my hard hat on, my boots, and get to work. And it's been great to see where the program have been. And especially hearing some of the alumni come back around and getting the text messages and things of that nature. We're bringing the Hall of Fame, the Sports Hall of Fame, to Baldwin Park Athletics this year. So we'll have a Hall of Fame night where guys who got inducted will come in. We'll recognize them for their past accomplishments to the programs and their time that they were here. So it's exciting, man, just to see the up and coming and being a part of the Baldwin Park football and being competitive and being one of the top teams around here again.
Oh, I have no doubt, Coach. I mean, you guys are heading in the right direction. This is your fourth season, and it's elevated every year. It seems like, and yeah, Mark and I, we had some great times on the court together. He always talked about the good old days at Baldwin Park. I always talked about, oh, Real Hondo, man, we should play sometime. And so, great dude, and yeah, it's great to hear tradition, man, tradition, alumni. I mean, it's what connects us all, right? I mean, I'm a Rams
Yeah.
fan, but there's no connection there. I went to Real Hondo Prep. You coach, where you went to school, that kind of matters. That's kind of unique, right? To high school athletics, specifically football.
I mean, again, it's one of the few things. It's one of the limited things that you get to participate in life. You only get 4 years of your life to participate, in high school. Not along to participate in sports. It's such an incredible moment of your life that you never forget. And with the friends you make and the teammates that become brothers, it's stuff that carries you on for life. So yeah, man, I think it's important. And it's great. Because those memories last forever, as you can tell. With the alumni, you guys get it, we get it. A lot of guys come back and they're proud of where they played and where they went to school.
Yeah, yeah, I love seeing it, man. I just because you graduate, tradition never graduates or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah.
So yeah, being proud of where you're from, where you played, and all that. That's fantastic. You were an offensive coordinator at Pasadena High School. Before you got to Baldwin Park. This is your 18th year of coaching. I didn't tell you this off the air, Coach, but I got some Muir blood in me. My grandmother's side, all Muir. My grandfather's side, all Pasadena. So we know all about that turkey tussle and how big of a deal that was. Man, Muir and Pasadena. Did you get how often? I know this could be touchy, Coach, but when you were coaching at Pasadena, did you guys get to get that bell a couple times or no?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've never lost a mirror in my coaching career, so yeah,
Got
I
it.
think we won it twice. Yeah, we played them
Nice.
when I was at Pasadena. I beat them 4 times when I was at Arcadia with both of them. So yeah, we took care of business when I was at Pasadena. We did our thing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I know those wins mean more in those moments too with the rivals.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
want to
for me, I didn't go to neither school, so there was no real hatred or anything personal between it. You know, I was just
just
the coach
business.
at Pasadena at that time. Yeah, and I wanted to win, so and that's just how it kind of went about.
I mean, there's so many great rivalries. That's a great one. Pasadena Mirror, San Dimas, Bonita's a great one. Baldwin Park has had quite a bit of great ones. My whole family's Northview people, so we know kind of those rivalries with Northview over the years. Let's talk about your playing days. You actually have a little connection to Rio Hondo. You played at Marshall High School in Pasadena, and you actually played against Rio Hondo a couple of
Yeah,
times. Talk to me about those days
yeah.
as a player.
Yeah, I remember my junior year. We played against Rio at Mir, and they beat us. They got us, I think, pretty good at that. Then I believe my senior year, I know, no, it was my sophomore year. It was our first year. And then my junior year, we played them in the playoffs at Rio, and it was a crazy game, man. It was a crazy game. We were down 14-0 off the bat, and then we found a way to come back and win. And we ended up losing in the semifinals that year to it was either I think it was the Grace Brethren. Yeah, we lost to Grace
Oh,
Brethren that year in the semifinals. Yeah, so
oh,
yeah, I had a little bit of taste in just to see and know about Rio for years now. For a lot because a lot of people don't, unfortunately. But I went to a small school and we kind of played a lot of the small schools, and so it's kind of knew about them from there. And beating us our junior because they had Leonard Goodwell. He got a Division I scholarship somewhere. He was a damn good running back that time when I was playing. And then he ran all over us my sophomore year, and then our junior year we meet in the playoffs and we was able to get our little payback.
you got us. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
we
yeah.
just missed playing each other, Coach. I graduated in '03, so '02 was my final
Okay,
season there. And but yeah, Landon was incredible. I
yeah.
got a full ride to UTEP, played
UTEP,
there.
yeah,
Yeah, one of our only two full-time Division I scholarship guys ever. So yeah, the playoff game, I remember that game too, because we thought we had a pretty good team. I have a strong dislike for Grace Brethren because they ended my football career in my senior year. But
yeah. Chad
um,
Cackert, man, and the Elmore
Cacker,
brothers. Yeah,
dude, dude, that
he is
guy.
the truth. He played for the
Oh my god.
Jaguars. He played for the Jaguars.
Okay, he
He had
got
a
to the
great.
league.
Yeah, he got to the league, man. Yeah,
That guy, I know he scored on us. We played them, and not me, but the team played. I think the opening game in '03, and they came to our place, and that dude was unreal. That dude was fast,
he was
fast.
Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey.
You're right. You're right. Good call. Good
Exactly who
call
he
on that
were.
one.
Yeah.
Chad Cagle. Who was the running back you guys had for Marshall? He was pretty good. I remember that dude. He broke a few off on us.
We had Isaac Clark. Yeah,
Clark. That's
Isaac
right.
Clark was our
That's
running
right.
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was one of the area's best, man. Oh, what do you think, man, about like Marshall, a smaller school, Rio Hondo, a smaller school? At that time, they were never even in the discussion really of like, even though they had success, it was still kind of like, oh, those are those smaller schools. Do you think the smaller schools have kind of really elevated in some ways that whether it's public or private, it's like, hey, we belong amongst some of these other schools you guys always talk about?
Yeah, well, that's kind of been like the story of my career because I kind of played at a smaller school and, you know, kind of didn't get the respect that you would think that you should get around of how good we were as a team. And we thought that, that during my time that we were better than Pasadena and Mirror at the time, my junior and senior year. And now my coaching career, I go to Arcadia, who was a 1-9 and 2-8 program before I got there. And, I turned that around. Same at Pasadena when I got there, went from Division 11 to Division 3, and now back at Baldwin Park. So it's just kind of um, it's not so much about how you start; it's about how you finish. And I think that the media does a great. I think the media helps big time nowadays with the social media stuff and with Mark and Fred and Tim and a lot of those guys what they do. I don't feel like the small schools get left out anymore. They get the same recognition as the big time schools does.
Yeah, that's so well said. I think social media, when used for good, is a good thing. We promote and put a lot out there. What do you find, Coach? Kind of that balance, that fine line of you want to promote your program, you want to put out cool videos and clips and this and that, but you also don't want like what's it called, clickbait or anything like that. What's the fine line of kind of promoting, but not maybe overdoing it in a sense?
Well, I mean, today's game, and today, you have to do it. It's big, and the kids are deserving of it. To try to give them as much exposure and social media stuff or things for their parents to see. Just anything that you can do, I think, is huge today's game. Because nowadays, it's a popularity kind of generation, and so for social media and promoting your program, it's huge. I just think that I haven't seen nobody kind of really kind of cross the line with it. I think everybody's been doing a pretty good job with running their stuff. I just think that you know, still remember that it's about football at the end of the day. And the liking
Yep.
comments, can help you, for players to kind of still have respect to their opponents and watch what they say, kind of deal, and just kind of let their helmets and shoulder pads do the talking, and just keep it football still. But as far as social media, I think it's great to promote your program and um, to get all the exposure that as you can get. It's you never know who will see it.
Yeah.
So you never know who it will inspire. You never know what middle school kid that's in that district that like on the verge of, oh, I want to go to this school, but he sees a video and like, what, that looks pretty cool. I probably want to go to that school now. So it's big, and it can help you in many ways. I think it definitely helps more than it hurts you.
Oh, I'm right there with you, man. I agree. Just so I'm always kind of thinking, man, it won't hurt to post this. It won't hurt to, someone will like it.
Yeah.
It matters to someone. It could be some random video clip of our conversation. It could be some drills at practice. It's like it's just kind of constant content to build things up. And I wanted to ask you about let me see. Oh, I lost my train of thought for a second there. That's all right. We'll come back to it. You have yourself quite a talented quarterback that came into you guys from Upland High School, Laquan Jackson. He's been getting a lot of attention, and people are talking about him. He's looking to potentially have a big year for you guys this year.
Yeah, man. We just blessed to have him. Phenomenal talent, great leader, great kid. Just what you will want at that quarterback position. Strong arm, very, very athletic kid. We're excited, man. We're excited because we have some very good pieces that was returning, from last year's team. Um, One of our best players who's been there since I've gotten there. He didn't get to play last year. He's had a torn ACL, and he's back this year as well. So getting him back also is adding fuel to the fire. So and just adding talent like Laquan, Jack, we call him Jack at quarterback is just because we had our quarterback led the area in passing yards last year. Threw 3,440 yards, and we lost in the championship, and now here comes another great, talented quarterback. Um, that's the dual threat, but man, the kid makes some amazing throws, man, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see where he can lead us for the season.
Yeah, it's nice to finally get pads on, right? Get on the field, and everyone looks good in shorts and maybe some passing drills, passing summer stuff. But it's like
Yeah,
now let's get the pads on, let's get a little pass rush, right? And see what
yeah,
guys are all about. So yeah, you guys put up quite a few points last
yeah.
year. We had in the playoffs, we had a common opponent. We played Maranatha earlier in the season. In the playoffs, you took down Maranatha 42-28, I believe. And Maranatha had themselves a great quarterback, and they could really put up some numbers. So that
Oh
was
yeah.
that was a shootout last year, right?
Oh yeah, man. Cooper Berry, yeah, he's now at
Ooh.
Cathedral. But man, no, he was had us on the edge of our seat. That kid, man, he can make some throws, and he was a very good playmaker in the pocket and can create. And it was a scary game for us. It was, the final score doesn't always determine how close the game was sometimes, and it was a close competitive game, and dude, that quarterback, man, and I forgot the receiver name, but I think it was number 14 or something. But they had some guys that were good, and it's always the reason, why guys make it to where they are. So you can never underestimate anybody. And I'm from Pasadena, so I know, how good Marinetta has been, how bad they also could have been, and things of that nature. So, but watching the film, and Coach Rand did a great job with those guys last year, and but that quarterback was able to make some plays last year but
Yeah.
luckily we was able to make it out top. And I tell people a lot of times, because this is probably the honest truth, they were probably our toughest opponent in the playoffs before we got to the championship. Um, and with this format of how they do things, um, sometimes your first round opponent is your toughest opponent in the playoffs. Um, and that's how it can match up because it's a computer rating. So they don't always get it right for the two best teams play each other at the end. So a lot of times it's all about getting out that first round playoff game. And Marinette was a dangerous opponent. I'm happy we was able to come out on top.
Yeah, we've always wanted the local games in a playoff. We got to play Lacerna, which was cool. But when you guys got matched up, Baldwin Park and Maranatha, part of me was like, that's going to be a great game. But I'm also like, oh man, one of those guys is going home. Nico Vergara was the receiver, number 14. Right,
Nico, yeah, yeah, the kid was
that
good.
dude was that dude was good, man. So
He was good.
for you guys to take them down, and we wish Coach Rand Holdren nothing but the best. He moved on to another school. We had him on the show not too long ago. Yeah, just getting that first win. You're right. Getting that first win and survive in advance. Survive in advance. If you would,
Surviving,
Coach, talk
yeah,
to
surviving.
survive in advance. Talk to me, Coach. And you guys were like you said, win 4 in a row, lose 5. That's a crazy streak, man. But
Yeah.
hey, that's football sometimes. Talk to me about changing leagues. You guys go from the Val Vista to the Hacienda League. I know so much history in the Val Vista League. If you could just talk to me about changing of the leagues. You got some new opponents. I saw you guys just had a Hacienda League Media Day, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, if you would, the changing of the scenery, if you will.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean, because dude, the first year, we get into the Valley Vista and we end up playing Northview for a league championship, which nobody expected us to be playing them in the last game of the season. And then the next year, we don't qualify. We finished fifth, and that just shows how competitive and how tough that league was from top to bottom. There was no guaranteed wins. Every game was tough. I mean, the first year we were in the Valley Vista. Um, one of our toughest games was Diamond Ranch, who finished last place. Like, we won that game on the last play of the game. So just that's not even getting the breath of fresh air because now you have Los Altos, who just went 10-0 the year before, and you got Diamond Bar with Coach Matt, who's won the CIF championship, and so West Covina, who beat us the year before in the Valley Vista, that came down with us as well. So it's going to be a very competitive league. I'm not, and that's what you like. You want every game, every week to give these guys and have a reason to go out there and give it your best, and that's what it's going to bring. I think it's a great league of coaches with great history and success since they've been coaching, and also a great history of football programs.
Yeah, it's a lot of great programs that you mentioned that have always been in the mix and kind of that local flair. I kind of work over there towards Los Altos High School down in Hacienda Heights. So yeah, I get the vibe that comes out. You know, West Covina, they're a great program, Baldwin Park, but man, it just seems like forever. Covina, Northview, Baldwin Park, like these are all kind of matchups that occurred every year, and now it's I don't know, it's things change. We've noticed whether it be the CIF format, the releaguing, change happens. It's not always good, but it's not always bad either.
No, not at all. I think with this year, with the Cal Preps rating and stuff, we're in the Mount Sac area, so every two years we re-league, and that's just to make sure that we get the most competitive brand of football out of our area and make sure everybody are in the right competitive league. So and that's what all it is. And for us, because I'm in the where Baldwin Park's at, there's like 5 or 6 schools that are like in a 10-minute radius, which means that there's hundreds of kids in that radius that are on the borderline of picking which school to go to. So to be able to play West Covina, South Hills, Covina, and those kind of things, it's great for our program.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just going to ask the question regarding like Rio Hondo. I think we talked about Rio finding games and kind of making a schedule that works for them. I think a big issue, Robledo's mentioned it, I've talked about it a lot, is us finding a new league. And this is coming from me, not Coach Carson or anybody. This is me speaking freely. I think Rio Hondo needs to get in a local public school league. I believe to do that, they're going to have to do it in all sports, which I don't know if our administration is thrilled about. I don't know any information. But what is your take on that, Coach? Kind of Rio Hondo joining one of these public school leagues, for lack of a better term. I'm not sure what else to call them, but just kind of the bigger leagues that everybody knows.
I mean, again, it's a unique situation because we're not just talking football, we're talking every sport, and that's where, as a school, you have to be fair to every sport. No matter how great your football program is, it doesn't mean that the basketball, the girls basketball or soccer, everything else can go to a league and be very competitive also. So it kind of makes it difficult as far as that. There aren't many private schools and public school leagues. The ones that are, they kind of do, pretty well as far as making the playoffs and winning the league. So I think it's Damien that's in the baseline, and Oaks Christian, I believe, is in the public school league. So it's a rare thing. But I'm a guy that's, man, get in where you fit in, and if there's somebody that's willing to take football only, I think the Mount Sac area wouldn't mind.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
to get a great program like Rio in, Charter Oak probably wouldn't like that to hear that, but to get the Rio to the Mount Sac area league and to join one of our leagues, I think that would be great. And not only that though, I just think it brings great week in, week out competitive football to the SGV. There's football at the SGV, and I get guys from LA, the IE, and Compton, like all the time. That's just like, you know, praises us on how they love what we do for the SGV football. As with the spaces and everything of that nature, and they becoming fans of it. And their kids don't even play nowhere near it. But so it'll be great for it, man. SUV football is special. Is the energy's different, the support is different, and to get into one of our local leagues, I think it's a great win.
yeah. We'll see what the future holds for us. Yeah, I don't know where do we fit is kind of the big question. I love the SGV pride, Coach. Orange County, they got their pride, the Valley and all that. But yeah, there is something special about the SGV out here with the ball that we play. And what we were talking about social media and stuff earlier, as far as like the rankings, people picking, we're
Yeah.
down in the rankings or something, and it's like sometimes our fans get upset, and I'm like, guys, no, we love this. We want the disrespect. We cherish that, and so our program has learned to like not complain about those things, but be like, no. even after all the things you've done, you got to have that chip on your shoulder. So, you know what I'm saying? That's just kind of how we operate, when on a daily basis. It's just like, all right, play with pride. Don't put the outside noise, keep that noise outside, right? Which I'm sure you can appreciate as a coach. That's got to be tough sometimes.
Yeah, it is. I'm one of the guys too. I mean, I see one. I mean, we all love what Mark does and everything, but now, you see all these other guys and all these other rankings is from, are coming out now, and seeing one ranking that had us ranked number 2 in the SUV, and I was like, come on now, like,
I did see that
let's
one.
be serious. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of getting out of hand, but it's great. But it's great. It's great motivation. Is great. For the kids. I think that it does do something to them, and whether some are proud or some get hungrier. I just think it's great to do that. And what Mark does with that, not even just the rankings, or just with the watch list. And and that makes moms and dads proud to see a list with their kid name on there, and certain things that nature they get to share with their friends and brag about. So and also to let all other coaches kind of know what this program have and who they have up and coming and things of that nature. So I think it's great for what Mark does for the area and Fred and all those guys, man. It's just such a blessing for those kids. Fred actually covered me. I got articles that was written by Fred Robledo. You know what I mean?
Same.
That when I was playing. So to see how long he's still been doing it and how great he's at, and he just seems like he's getting better and better, as he gets older. It's just such a blessing that we have these kind of guys to do these for our kids in our area.
Yeah, yeah. These guys are passionate about the craft, which I could totally appreciate, and why they do such a good job, and we love bringing them on the show and all those things too. We'll let you get out of here real quick, but just I wanted to mention something. I mentioned I work over in kind of Hacienda Heights area, and I got a lot of coworkers, man, who are some Baldwin Park grads, and they've been telling me all summer, Coach, oh man, Baldwin Park, we're coming for you on the 14th, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm just like. It may just be a scrimmage, but like I said, we're gonna have some fun on Friday, man. It's gonna be good to get the pads on.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. But like I said, for us, we're just both trying to sharpen up and get ready for the season. I think that at this point, and by the time we play, we might not even want much tackling going on. It might be quick early whistles, and again, we just want to get a couple plays in and get out of there. One thing I know for sure about the scrimmage is that there won't be a winner or a loser.
No, no, no. And I may take some unofficial notes, unofficial scoring, like a boxing analyst does or something, but I will be
Yeah,
I will be truthful, coach. I promise you that.
yeah.
Final thing, real hundo
No,
prep. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, but again, like for us, it's Baldwin Park, just to be able to get on the field with Rio and where they're at right now as a program. It's a pleasure, and to get out there and become better and have the opportunity to get better and to see where you are, because that's where I want to be. I want to be one of the top teams in the area. I want to be a Division 5, Division 3 team again, and I want to do that at Baldwin Park. So, but to do that, you gotta play against tough teams that are there already. So, it'd be a good measuring stick for us is to see how far we are and how much more work that we need to do as a program.
Yeah, and as you know, coach, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And so you finished strong last year. I know you're gonna get off to a great start this year. If you could, in closing, Real Hondo Prep Football, our kind of battle cry, our mantra is brotherhood, toughness, discipline. And there's plenty of other things in between there. If you could, just an opportunity to talk about Baldwin Park, maybe what you stand for, what maybe is your slogan, or just if you have to sum up Baldwin Park Braves football and brag about it, what is it that you're striving for out there?
We're striving to be the best. Come from a tough community, which is good, because we have a lot of tough kids, and the kids know we're gonna kick ass, or we're gonna get our ass kicked. So just pick a side and let's go do that 100%.
Sounds like that Baldwin Park brave mentality out there. Love what I'm
Yeah,
seeing from you guys on social media, but also on the field, Coach. You guys are doing great things. Hey, I look forward to seeing you in on the Friday the 14th, shaking your hand, and again, let's have some fun, man. Let's get the season going, Coach.
Yes, sir, man. Like I said, it's here already. This is the best time of the year. It's August football time. It's Friday night lights, snack bars. It's time to go. So I'm excited, and hopefully, me and Mark can shake hands again at the conference championship luncheon next year.
Hey, absolutely. That is a huge goal and a great achievement indeed. Coach Robert Maxey, appreciate your time. Looking forward to competing with you at the scrimmage on Friday the 14th. And thanks so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure, Coach.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Good luck to you guys this year.
Well, thank you so much, Coach Robert Maxey of Baldwin Park High School. That was an absolute pleasure chatting with someone we're going to be competing against this Friday night. It's not quite your traditional 7 o'clock kickoff. It's not even probably. We'll even have any kickoffs, but we'll see how it goes down. Coach Carson and Coach Maxey will get together and kind of discuss the format, what they want to do, whether it's 10 plays, or you're even using chains and moving up and down the field, or you just going play for play. Who knows what it'll be like? I'll do my best to again communicate all that stuff to you guys on Friday night as I'm out there at Baldwin Park High School, and give you some just notes of how things were. Again, some of the things I'm really looking forward to with our guys is, we've had some of these guys around the program for so long. The Noah Peninaries, the Elijah Gavias, the Calodro Chicos. You just name all these guys. Nathaniel Shine, Yannick Diaz. They've been around forever, right? Well, they're not here anymore, and it's time for the current seniors: Christian Lee, Elias Hart, Troy Seto, just to name a few. It's their time, it's their team, and I'm curious to see. It doesn't even have to be a vocal thing, but just to see who kind of takes charge. Who are those guys that are the leaders and are just like sometimes leadership isn't necessarily vocal. It's just kind of how you carry yourself, and so I'm looking for that. I'm looking also. I always look at the quarterback position. I know we don't throw the ball a ton, but when we do, when we do, it's a big deal, and orchestrating the offense is difficult. So I'm curious to see maybe a couple different quarterback looks to see how we're there, where we're at. The offensive line is always something I keep a close eye on to kind of, okay, are we in sync? Are we communicating? Mistakes is totally fine, but just kind of the establishing a presence as far as physicality, but also who to block, right? Blocking the right guys, not all the guys. And so the running game, I think, will always come around no matter, who we got. But I think defensively, we're going to be tested, obviously, with a quarterback in Jackson at Baldwin Park, and the Braves know how to put the ball in the air. So I'm really looking forward to kind of how we are. We're not playing passing league stuff anymore, right? I want to see a good rush from the defensive line, maybe some blitzes. We're not going to obviously be hitting the quarterback. I think in a scrimmage, they'll probably have the red jerseys on, but just our secondary and how we. Do we give up big plays? Are we able to, if a guy does catch a ball, I don't know how much tackling will be going on, but are we around the receiver, when he's catching it, not just wide open spaces? So are we able to get our hands on guys, put them on the ground, or at least wrap them up here in a scrimmage? I'm not sure if we'll have officials in this thing. Back when I was officiating, we used to get out and work at least one scrimmage. So hopefully there are, and that'll just help kind of to see if maybe we are operating smoothly, right? Not having too many penalties and just starting things off right. And same for Baldwin Park. They're going to be looking to go with some live bullets, if you will, and see what it's like. You're no longer training, you're competing. So for many months, both of these schools, all these schools in Southern California, have been prepping to get to this moment in August. And this is one step closer. It's not officially getting on the, not an official game, but it does matter. And I think we're going to see two quality teams out there dusting off the cobwebs a little bit, going up against, a real competition. And it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a learning experience for both teams. And that's all I can really say about that. It'll get us a little more fired up, amped up, and maybe we'll have some questions after this. Hey, man, our run defense didn't look sharp. Oh man, our limited passing game, whatever it is. Like, there's gonna be things we're gonna pick apart from this scrimmage. We'll talk about it with Coach Carson on Saturday in our podcast release here on the Charge to Keep podcast. So, in wrapping up today's show, I want to get into the rhythm and the routine of what we're doing throughout the year. My explanation point, where I talk to you guys a little bit about the rules. Nothing too major, of course. I know most of you guys are, you don't want to hear too much about the referees. You don't want to yell at them, right? That's typically what fans do. But I want our fans to be educated and to just kind of give you guys either terminology or just, if you're going to yell something, at least yell the right thing and stuff like that. So, just a few very few rules that the NFHS had as far as rule changes. And remember, the rules committee. This is all coaches. All throughout the country. There hasn't been too many officials on these committees. I think one of them was my good friend Sean Hockley, who's currently in the NFL, but I'm not positive of that. Just something I think he was mentioned to me not too long ago. So a couple of rule changes. A head slap. They extended the prohibition where it used to just it kind of banned defensive players from head slapping, and they expanded upon it. So basically, you got to be really careful with your hands. Sometimes you see a head slap in like a dead ball situation. Well, in rushing the passer, sometimes your hands get carried away, or as a blocker, maybe your hands will, you can't have a slap. Now, what's a slap? Is it a straight arm? Is it this? I mean, some things are just extend up to the judgment of the officials, but basically it's equal. It's they want to apply the rule equally where they are banning head slap by both offensive and defensive players, use of the hands. Obviously, if your hands get up high, bad things could happen, grabbing a mask or whatever. So it's best to stay below the shoulders with all of your activity there. But they just don't want guys slap. Now, as a ball carrier, if you're stiff arming someone, is that a slap? I don't think so, unless it's a significant, like, waving of the arm. We all kind of know what a slap is and what isn't. So it's just kind of. That was one play. Again, a rule change that was just kind of more of a technicality thing as far as like, hey, the verbiage didn't say equally for both teams. So watch your hands, gentlemen. Keep them down and don't be slapping guys. You shouldn't be slapping a helmet anyway. Doesn't that hurt the hand anyway? Play card placement. So in the past, there was the CIF was getting really kind of nitpicky on uniform adornments. They don't want, wristbands, streamers, all this and that. Well, one thing they were really big about was wristbands. They didn't want, the wristband with the play sheet on them. They didn't want them on the belt. Now, back when I was coaching, loved the wristband to be able to communicate things to the players, but you didn't necessarily want it on the arm because you get a lot of sweat going, right? And those things would smell after a while. So I was like, put it on the belt. And then so you could just kind of look down at it. And some of those teams that go like no huddle and stuff, that's really easy for them to kind of just look down at their belt buckle that it's tied to. And there you go. Well, the CIF had these rules set in place for a while. It was more of they just wanted some more uniformity with kind of the players and, not having extra things. And so even though it was something that was helpful and sped the game up, if you will, they didn't want the wristbands on belts. So for whatever reason, they just said, we don't want them there. They got to be on the wrist. Well, finally they said, hey, players may now wear the play cards on their belt in addition to traditionally on the wrist. So again, a little technicality thing there. And then finally, this is more from, again, a stylistic thing. There are phases or fads, we'll say, in high school athletics. Back at one point in my playing days, the towels were a big deal. The towels got out of control. Guys were wearing them super long, having all these crazy logos on them, so they kind of had to police that. The past few years, mouthpieces have kind of become a big deal. Guys are having a little excessive, we'll say, where it's sticking out of the mouth like a pacifier, or there's like guys are having one dangle from their face mask and then having another one in their mouth just to look cool or whatever. Basically, the NFHS says mouth guards cannot include non-functional attachment or any design elements that pose a health safety risk, right? Whenever you make rules, you throw the words health and safety into anything, and okay, that kind of qualifies it for the change. So basically, guys, for the players, we can't have anything that's like excessive or overdoing it. It's just a mouthpiece. You can't even see it behind the mask, generally speaking. So it's just, there's too much like flair and swag going on with this stuff. So they just want to clean that up a little bit. I don't think our guys have any issues with that. Maybe some of the like pacifier looking things is the best way I can describe it. But they got to give the officials and something to do, right? So they got to look at them and say, hey, we want this police. Make sure the mouth guards and things aren't aren't out of control. And as guys, high def television, right? You kind of can zoom in and see things a little better. So guys are making statements with their fashion at all times. So they just want to clean that up a little bit. Another thing in here is just about an arm sleeve, nothing big there. I won't even touch that. Let's go to a couple points of emphasis this year. And I think this first one is honestly, in a lot of areas, the game has gotten out of control, and it's not, in my opinion, the officials' fault. I think it's our current culture, the social media age we live in, and by that I mean it's this constant like taunting of your opponent. Like it goes from a spark to a flame so quick these days, where little talking here and there turns into chippiness, and before you know it, guys are talking every play. So the NFHS wants stricter, consistent penalty enforcement for flagrant and unsportsmanlike fouls. So flagrant fouls, those should speak for themselves. That's something that's violent, non-football related, like you crack a guy after the play in the back or something, not a football hit like targeting or something, but flagrant acts. Well, I guess you would include targeting. Anything that's kind of on a violent nature, flagrant nature, they want those enforced more strictly. And now I don't necessarily like that as far as from a tackling standpoint, but it's just the world we live in now, guys. It's going to get enforced more and more strict as we consistently go health uber all, health above everything, right? So that's just the world we live in. Now, unsportsmanlike fouls, that should never be an issue with Real Hondo, guys. But the CIF and NFHS is going to have a consistent point of emphasis that they do not want things they don't want guys dancing and taunting and doing any of these things. So it's not even what you intend to do. Sometimes it's what is perceived that happens. So Rio's got to continue to do a great job of that, as I know our faculty and alumni take great pride in that we don't do those things, but it is going to be a point of emphasis this year. And hopefully maybe some other teams slip up on that and we get some hidden yardage out of it, but got to continue to do a good job in handling ourselves, policing ourselves. Unsportsmanlike fouls, yeah, that's got to stop. I mean, if you let what you permit is what you promote, right? And so whether that's your team, your program, or in officiating a game, that's not a big deal that just happened. No, as officiating with some things, you got to put a stop to it early. These are high school kids or young men. You got to put a stop to that stuff early so we can just play football, right? That's what we want to do anyway. Helping the runner, aiding the runner is something that's always been controversial for it was in the rule book for years. You couldn't aid the runner, push the runner, right? Then it kind of went out the window and it's like, all right, well, if you're pushing, you can push, you just can't pull. Basically, they want zero tolerance for pushing or pulling the ball carrier. So the ball carrier, if he's running, they don't want an individual player behind him pushing him. You definitely can't pick him up and carry him or pull him with you, right? Where you see it kind of like, okay, all bets are off is the pile. If you're pushing the pile, and honestly, with Rio guys, or you see like the tush push with the Philly, the brotherly shove or whatever, if it's in a pile, there's really nothing you can do about it. If you're pushing the pile, are you really assisting the runner, or are you moving a pile? Like it's a catch 22 or whatever you want to say about it. Basically, one of my sources, when I was talking to them about it, they said the direct quote was, the question of it happening in a pile was like, who's going to see that? As far as the officials on the outside, they're looking into bodies. They don't know what's going on. Is it the referee or the umpire? An actual official on the committee, which hasn't happened very often, brought this up. In the end, they thought there was just not enough feel for it to be an advantage, disadvantage, pushing a pile. If it's such a big advantage, well, you can do it also. But individually, if you got a guy out in the open and your guy's running and he's up against a tackler, and then you come in and start pushing him, when it's a one-on-one basis, or you're pushing your runner or picking up your runner, whatever, that's going to be enforced. And again, it's something that's hard to enforce, which is why you don't see it that often. So aiding the runner, assisting the runner, they want to be a little more consistent on that. This is the last one, and it's a big one, and it's something that's kind of brought up every year, a point of emphasis: sideline management and control. I will speak from my experience as an official. You got to lay down the line on your sideline. You're not trying to be badge guy, like, hey, look at my badge, I'm in charge here. But you have to establish control on your sideline, and that means a clean sideline. And that, guys, that's 100 yards. I will say 120 yards if you count the end zones. Like, when you look to your left and your right, the officials need a clear area to work. They get that entire white brick, right? That 3 yard restricted area. So they want a very consistent. They want it officiated more consistently, keeping especially non-players inside the designated box area. So many times the players are back up, then you got 4 or 5 coaches creeping up into the area because they got to yell out to the kids. It's like they can hear you whether you're 3 yards forward or 3 yards back. So anyway, you're going to see that more strictly enforced. I know it's tight down at Care Park, but you have to you got to back up, man. Back up, spread out, whatever you got to do. I know there's not a lot of room down there, but you got to give that restricted area space. And a lot of times it's the coaches who creep forward. And the coaches, in my opinion, the players should be 6 yards off the sideline, and then the coaches get the 3 yards. So that's gonna be more strictly enforced. At least that's what they say on paper, right? Points of emphasis. We need to do our part. Real fans, if you're fortunate enough to be down on the sideline, whether you're with the medical team or security or media, whatever, taking photos, let's really respect those officials. Let's stay back. I know sometimes you're like, what do I need to be back for? It's not that big of a deal. It gets tight in a hurry, if you know what I mean, when the ball comes that direction and you got to officiate, and you don't want to worry about what's behind you or to your left or to your right. So again, control the controllable. We need to control the things we can control. Unsportsmanlike behavior, that's on us. The sideline management, that's on us. Other things that occur throughout a game, that's just part of football. We got to do a good job of just keeping our head about us. But the things we can control, the uniforms, how we look, covering our knees, that's 100% on us. So let's have a good sideline. Let's have a good season in controlling the controllables, real faithful. And each and every week, I'll have more points of emphasis for you. My explanation point at the end of our pregame show to get you guys ready, get you guys thinking, maybe outside the box, pun intended, with the outside the restricted area box down there on the sideline, thinking a little bit more, like an official or managing a game a little bit. And again, I know we're hard on those guys at times, but we couldn't have football games without the guys in stripes. So never forget that. All right, guys, that'll wrap up this week's pregame show, pre-scrimmage show, however you want to phrase this one. It's been fun to get things back in, again, that rhythm and the routine. It's a lot of work, but I love doing it. It's a privilege and an honor. Rio Hondo Prep Football. It's been about 10 weeks or so of buildup to this season. I know it starts next week on August 21st in week 0, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take a scrimmage against the Baldwin Park Braves over just practicing a little bit more. This will get each team better and ready to go for their first opponent next week. And man, just really, really excited about all of this. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks again to Coach Maxey. Good luck to the Baldwin Park Braves and their season. We'll be keeping a close eye on them because when you have common opponents, and we face Baldwin Park, if they're knocking off teams or whatever, it's going to be like, oh man, we held our own with them in that scrimmage, and they look pretty good this year. It'll be a good gauge. We'll be able to, I don't know, get a good grasp on how the season's going, how it's going to be. And yeah, it's finally here, guys. I know school's around the corner too, but first things first, Rio Hondo Prep Football, another week closer. This week we'll actually be on the field against another team. And after that, man, here we go. The fastest 10, 11 weeks in the year. And hopefully it's 14, 16 weeks, but 1 week at a time. All right, guys, that's it. As always, where's my charger? I got it out this time. Let's stay charged up. This is a little portable battery pack, but I thought it would do the trick. Stay charged up, guys. Charge your phones, charge your bodies, charge your attitude, your mindset. A charge to keep, indeed. Let's get charged up for the 2026 season. I'm jacked up. I know you guys are as well. We are a little closer, and man, it's finally here. Just about feels Christmas season, right, rolls around. It's like, oh yeah, it's finally here. Football, even better. High school football, best time of the year for sure. As I wrap up the show, your friendly reminder, guys, Rio Hondo Prep Football, humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky. To serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live. And know thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die.